Aliens. What are the odds that we're not alone? New evidence shows that aliens do exist, and our planet has already been visited by them. They just haven't appeared in a very long time. As reported in August 2019 in the Astronomical Journal, the analysis shows that extraterrestrials could be taking their sweet time getting to our planet. But why? Because they likely rely on the movement of star systems, as they would make crossing the universe easier. So stars and planets move around the center of our Milky Way and occasionally pass one another. The Milky Way Galaxy itself is also revolving. The research argues that aliens may be waiting to travel closer to one of those destinations, which could be why they haven't visited us. The study itself delves into a theory called the Fermi Paradox. It asks, if alien civilizations do exist, why haven't we found evidence of them in our galaxy? Welcome to Brainbender Solarium. Join us as we travel through space and explore the question, is there any intelligent extraterrestrial life existing on other planets? The Fermi Paradox is named after Italian-American physicist Enrico Fermi. He was having lunch back in 1950 and debating recent UFO sightings with his friends. When they started talking about how these UFOs would have to travel faster than the speed of light to get to Earth, Fermi wondered, but where is everybody? If they have this technology, why don't we see more of them more often? If there are billions of stars and planets where intelligent life may have evolved to the point of providing space exploration, it does not make sense. The paradox forced scientists into two camps. Either no one has ever left their home planet, or Earthlings are the only advanced life form in the whole galaxy. There are plenty of theories as to why aliens seem so uninterested in our little rock. The risk exists that the conditions on Earth could be lethal for them. Think about it. On Mars and other planets and asteroids, traces of microscopic species exist. Without a doubt, humans could not survive on Mars, but bacteria could. If aliens have evolved specifically under their home planet's conditions, then Earth could be toxic for them. It would be like going to Venus and having to breathe in pure carbon dioxide. Never mind that it's so warm there too, that we would have melted before we even get a whiff. And they're aware of this. Those fancy saucers they're flying can probably measure the conditions on a planet from afar. They intentionally don't make contact with a world in which they won't survive. Chances are they have come close to Earth, but they have chosen to move on. There's also zoo theory. You'd think these super intelligent beings would have advanced spacesuits to protect them from harsh planetary conditions. If that were the case, then aliens aren't interested in us because they see us as primitive beings. They choose not to make contact for the same reason we don't try to reason with animals. We might not have been able to interact with aliens simply because of different methods of communication. How would we even know if they wanted to make contact? Well, we communicate with radio signals and sound waves. They might use some other system that is unimaginable and incomprehensible to us. What if this difference makes us invisible to one another? And there's another theory, of course, that they've been among us all this time, but they're just especially good at hiding. We can't talk about aliens without mentioning crop circles. These massive and perfectly geometrical figures have been a source of speculation all over the world for decades. One of the first incidents occurred in the 1960s when an Australian farmer saw a UFO rise up and fly away from his land. He then discovered the reeds and grass lying flat in a clockwise pattern. Many believe extraterrestrial beings are to blame and that these images may serve as a way of communication for them or may even be landing sites. But the only evidence so far points to creative humans with a lot of spare time on their hands. One man even admitted to doing it himself back in the 90s. If it is extraterrestrials, then England seems to be their favorite spot for drawing weird pictures in the countryside, particularly around Stonehenge. And that brings along another famous theory of aliens. Author Eric von Daniken stated that Stonehenge acted as an alien landing site. Because many of the stones weigh about 25 tons, he found it impossible for the structure to have been constructed by humans 5,000 years ago. Other ancient sites believed to be built by aliens include Peru's Sacsayhuaman, the Egyptian pyramids, and Teotihuacan in Mexico. So far, there's no way of proving that extraterrestrials constructed these mysterious monuments for one reason or another. So what if humans came into contact with aliens, and what are they supposed to look like? Well, some scientists have indicated that aliens may look entirely different from what we expect. Common drawings and caricatures show similar characteristics with long arms, wide almond-shaped eyes, set on egg-shaped heads, and green or gray bodies. These little green men typically land on Earth aboard a flying saucer. But the chances that they'd look so similar to us with 2 legs, 2 eyes, 2 arms, etc. are slim. Life forms evolve depending on their particular planetary conditions. For example, if the gravity on their home planet is quite strong, they'd likely be horizontal creatures rather than vertical like us. The most bizarre alien theory related to this is called the panspermia hypothesis. It turns all the others upside down and claims that we, humans, are the aliens. This theory supposes that life did not originate on our planet but rather on other worlds. According to this theory, how did we get here? Simple. We started as bacteria that were later transported to Earth by meteorites. Humble microbial beginnings. The Earth does serve as a model when thinking about life on other planets. Life exists in extreme conditions on our home turf. You can find creatures in the deepest oceans, the highest mountains, the hottest deserts, and even the tundra's frozen soil. That would justify our most recent obsession with Mars. It contains water and some of the same conditions found on Earth. Could the red planet be something like early Earth? It's interesting to think about. A recent poll found that 20% of Americans believe aliens have visited our planet, and those numbers could rise anytime. US Navy pilots admitted to seeing UFOs in the summer of 2019. Now remember that UFO doesn't necessarily mean there's a little grayish guy in there, it just means they couldn't identify what the flying object was, but they're pretty weird. These UFOs seem to defy all the laws of our physical world. They're speedy and can change direction quickly. The majority of these events are without explanation. The states with the highest number of reported sightings are Vermont, Montana, New Hampshire, Alaska, Maine, and California. All witnesses describe similar things: bright lights, typically in a V formation, in the night sky. Citizens also describe erratic movement and sudden vanishing. Could witnesses in totally different locations see the same type of object? Or are they merely describing accepted UFO behavior without really witnessing anything? Well, the more people reporting the same sighting, the more likely it is to be accurate, but we can't know for sure. Sightings and participation in UFOs have steadily declined since 2014. We can blame some of this on technological advancement. Since people have a whole world of information in the palm of their hand, they can stay better informed instead of relying on questionable, possibly fake, fuzzy videos. Or maybe people simply don't care anymore. We've all got ourselves busy in social media. We probably wouldn't even notice a UFO right above our heads or an alien right behind our home. Thanks for joining us. We hope you found this video interesting. If so, take a look at some of our other videos you see on the screen now. Also, ring that bell to keep up with new content that we publish weekly. We'll see you next time here on Solarium.